Yo, welcome back to another one. In today's video, I'll be talking about, or reviewing if you would say, about my recent purchase, the new kind of like oversized big Milwaukee Underhood light. I can't get the whole thing inside the camera, but yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Part number is UHL-0 if you're going for the body only. I mean, there was a time that this was on a deal with a 4-amp battery and the charger, but I don't need the battery and the charger because I got way too many chargers and batteries. But yeah, you get the point. As you can see, I mean, too big again for the screen. Starting off with the bracket itself, kind of like neat design over here. It's aluminium, so I like that. It's a bit like, it shows a bit more promising in terms of use in the long term. Aluminium, you ain't gonna break like plastic, which is like, you know, cheaper I would say as well to like produce. So they went with aluminium. Nice kind of like black matte finish. Obviously you got the kind of like hooks over here, so you got one over here, and then at the other side you got the other one over there. That's where it clips. Nice pattern over here, which I like. I did use this like once, but I'll get into that later. Nice padding over here, so obviously when you extend it to put it under the light, it doesn't scratch the bonnet, which is the last thing you want to do on a customer's car, because otherwise what the hell you're working for. But you get the idea. So both sides extend, and then obviously when it extends, the main beam over here, this one can slide backwards and forwards depending on where you want to position, you know, the light. Now back to the main thing, the light itself, which is kind of like, it costs you like, I don't want to say an arm and another thing, but you get what I'm saying. The light itself, I mean, I'm using a 2-amp battery over here because it's like a spare one that I got at home when I'm using my other tools. I got my main 6 amps and 4 amps and another 2 amps or whatever, how many batteries I work. So yeah, the tool itself, I don't know if you can see that. So obviously you got your insert over there where the battery goes. Long, nice LED. Now with the tool itself, I don't know how many LEDs this has. Quite a lot, from as you can see over here. This is going to be where it clamps on to kind of like the 2 hooks over there onto the aluminium bracket, as you can see. Little hook on top, so if you want to use the hook, you know, I don't know when I'm going to use it, but nice feature. Why not add the hook just in case, you never know. So getting into some of the specs of the tool, I would say is it's got 2 modes. So obviously you got the power button and then the mode button, and then you got the little fuel gauge over here. So I'm gonna press that aside. Quite bright as you can see, but yeah, let me just put it on low. I don't know if you can see. So when you turn it on, you got the fuel gauge showing you how much battery you got left. Love that always. With any tool, I love always having a fuel gauge. You got your mode, so that's going to be high and then low. Now in terms of lumens, this is going to be on high 1350 lumens, and then on low it's going to be 600, which is still like, you know, bright. So this is high, this is low. Not really the best example to give you, you know, a good idea of how much light it is. In terms of use for the tool, I think it comes with a 3 or 5 year warranty. Obviously when you get the tool, you register it online, and then you get the 3 or 5 year warranty, whatever it is. Back to the main tool itself. Is it a revolutionary light that's gonna change your world when you're working on cars? Is it gonna make your work more efficient? You know, what use I would suggest for this type of light? Now, you know, I'll give 2 recent examples that I was working, and then kind of like, you know, one example that I didn't have the light and then I wish I had it, and then another example that I used it and then, you know, it worked alright, but you know, it kind of like had a bit of a drawback. Now, first example was I was working on the BMW X5. Needed to replace an oil filter housing. It was like a 268 plate, but yeah, needed to replace an oil filter housing. So you know, it was kind of like on top of the engine. I had to take the manifolds off, and then coolant hoses and whatnot to like disconnect them to get to the oil filter housing. Kind of like I would say not the best job in the world, but you get what I'm saying. The job needs to get done. And then I obviously use my Milwaukee M12 stick light, and then my pivoting, my small pivoting headlight as well. Those two. The only problem I had is obviously with newer cars nowadays, you get in more kind of like more plastic and then more aluminium parts. So especially like the hood or whatever other different parts inside the engine, the aluminium or kind of like, which is not good for if you got like a magnetic torch or light. So the problem I was having with my Milwaukee M12 stick light and then my pivoting headlight was kind of like moving it around to position it where I could actually get to the light, to actually get to the bolts to see what I'm doing. Obviously being not very magnetic surfaces over there, it was kind of like hard. So that's why I was thinking about this kind of like light over here, which I was like, if I had this, it's kind of like it would be a straightforward job. You know, I wouldn't have to like move around my torch over there, move it over there, maybe like fall over or whatever. I had one of my mates as well, he kind of like held the light for me a little bit to get into some positions. So yeah, this is where this would help. Like if you're doing anything sort of like underneath the engine, you know, you just obviously the length of it being long is going to cover majority of area. Obviously you got the high setting, and then kind of like, as you can see over here, it kind of like when you turn it on, it doesn't, you know, blind you automatically, kind of like, you know, like not dims out, but kind of like starts slow, and then it comes up to like full high, I would say. And then obviously if you want less lighting, you can put it on low. So yeah, I wish I had that tool like then when I was doing that job. But then again, I'll give you another example. I was working on, like the other day, Fiat 500. I had to replace the thermostat housing because it was leaking from there. So, you know, I was doing the job. Obviously the thermostat housing, you know, weird design, what's or not. The ECU was on top of the thermostat housing. So I was like, I don't want to bother taking the ECU off. You know, waste my time taking the ECU off to make space. I'll just, you know, do it from the side and then disconnect and take off the fasteners of the thermostat housing, you know, get the new one in, and then what's or not. Although having this light kind of like, you know, on top, like phasing and lighting, because the ECU, like the ECU was on top, I was getting a good amount of light, but it wasn't as clear from underneath. So I had to use my pivoting headlight, my small torch from Milwaukee. Love that thing, recommend it. But anyway, back to this. It was doing a very good job of supporting me, like, you know, giving me my extra hand to like actually work on the car without like having to hold the light and then trying to work with my other hand, you know, like holding the ratchet and what's or not. So very good. But you know, again, if there's some obstacles in the way, it supports you very well. But you know, you ain't gonna, you know, I needed to use a small light as well just to like get into some weird position fastener, but you get the idea. In terms of what I would use this light, if you were thinking about like investing in like this underhood light, is if you're gonna be doing anything from engine work, so it's like cylinder heads, head gaskets, anything like from, I don't know, like timing belts, timing chains, anything of that, like which you spend your majority of the time underneath the engine, and then you're focusing kind of like on the engine itself, which is quite big, and you need a more vast like area of light covering so you can see what you're doing. Highly recommend this. Get one of these. As kind of like if you're like a loop tech, service tech, that you're gonna be doing your servicing on a daily basis or whatever, kind of like this kind of stuff, would this light be helpful? I can't really see the point. If you, I mean, you know, I was doing servicing on whatever all these years and stuff like that, brake jobs and what's or not. You know, you can take this out of the bracket and then, you know, kind of like hang it or whatever. But, you know, I wouldn't use it for those type of reasons. I mean, if you had like, I mean, I'll probably say like the Milwaukee M12 stick light, that was doing a pretty good job in terms of like jobs like that. But in terms of like, you know, big jobs that I was working on the engine, it was alright, but then if I would get to like, if I had the light over here and then I get my face or whatever like underneath to like work, and then, you know, I would cover the light, and which is kind of like a pain in the ass. But this one, because obviously it has so many LEDs, you can kind of like, you know, cover some section but then still get the light from the other LEDs to see what you're doing. So this is where this will come real handy and then make your work more efficient. I mean, like on the X5 that I was doing the oil filter housing, I probably spent 30% of the time changing the light from one position to another one, kind of like trying to get like a good angle so I can see what I'm doing and get to the fasteners. So this is my kind of like review or opinion, as I would say, on this Milwaukee underhood light. Is it worth it? It depends what you're going to be doing. If you're going to get more kind of like involved into engine stuff and like anything of that nature, real handy. As you know, if you're like working single, like on your own, or especially something like that, you know, having the extra hand and not having to hold the light or, you know, whatever, real makes a difference in terms of efficiency when you're working, saving up time and then finishing the work faster than you would normally do. In terms of batteries, I will highly go with at least a 4 amp battery like Milwaukee offered the tool. I personally use a 6 amp, but you know, you can use a 4 amp. 2 amp battery on this, I don't know how much it's gonna last. I think the 4 amp they said is gonna last. 4 amp battery, I think is like 4 hours or 6 hours on high. I think it was 4 hours. But anyway, you know, if you're gonna get this tool, you're probably gonna have to be using a 4 amp, 6 amp. You know, you can use a 2 amp battery, but it's gonna be dying all the time. So yeah, I will probably go with a 6 amp battery. That's what I was using the tool with. But yeah, this is kind of like my opinion on this underhood light. And another thing, if you ain't got a big toolbox, you gotta keep in mind that, I mean, I keep this in my car where I work, because you know, every 2 hours keep it in my box. If I can't keep it in my box, I'm not laying it outside, because I don't know whether it's gonna get nicked, stolen, whatever, misused and then damaged or whatever. And then if it's my day off, you know, you can't do anything because you don't know what's going on. So if you got a big toolbox to put this one in, or a safe place like a garage that you like, you know, you trust your colleagues or whatever, that they, you know, they keep your tools over there, or if they use it, they're gonna be careful what's or not. You know, it is a big tool, so storage, it might be a bit of an issue. Again, me, I'm having it in my car. When I need to use it, take it out of my car, use it, and then put it back. So yeah, keep that in mind, unless you got a big toolbox, and it doesn't matter. So, you know, it's down to you really. I ain't got like a, you know, 50-inch toolbox or anything of that, so might get one, but that's a different whole story. So yeah, that is the video about this one. In terms of, you know, kind of like quality of the product, it does have this kind of like rubber, like I don't know if you can see that, like rubber like mold over here. When if you do drop it, it kind of like drops onto this kind of like mounts, or what I would call it, kind of like protective covers, kind of like absorbs the impact rather than having the fall on the like aluminium LED and then bending it. But yeah, you know, it might fall or whatever, but I believe it's going to be real sturdy, because I have all of my Milwaukee tools, you know, I use them, you know, I've dropped them a couple of times, it's still holding on, no problem. So, you know, I don't have any doubts on this light. And then this, again, it still comes with 3-year warranty or whatever, so I wouldn't worry about that. That was the video, guys. That's my opinion on this Milwaukee M12 Underhood light, in terms of what you should like, where you're going to be using it, if you're thinking about investing in it. Oh, and another thing, I've seen some people, you know, use it from underneath the car, kind of like extending it and then clamping it onto the ramp. You know, I haven't really done that. I don't know if I'm gonna use it like that. I don't know how well it's gonna like hold up in like hanging upside down. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, you know, if you want to use it like that, you know, leave a comment down below. Tell me how it is. If it's kind of like beneficial, or if it's kind of like in the way. That was the video, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to comment down below, tell me what you think about the tool. If you have it, if you used it for a couple of years and then you find some faults or some things that you don't like, leave a comment down below. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. Let me know why, you know, if I miss anything. And I'll see ya in the next video.